inflation.
Yeah.
Wondering if you can give us some sense of what more he'll get into.
Sure. Well, I would note that as we announced and previewed a little bit, the president will be speaking to his plan, his continued plan to continue the fight to address inflation in the coming months. There's a lot of work that has been done to date on this front, whether it was the steps he's taken to address energy crisis, the release from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, additional steps he's taken on that front, or whether it was steps he's taken even in recent weeks to fix the family glitch, to help more people have access to health care, or steps he announced in the last couple of weeks to make E15 available to thousands of people at gas stations across the country. But what you will also hear him talk about tomorrow is the contrast, and the contrast that his plan and the plans he's been implementing for months now draws with those on the other side of the aisle who have not put forward any plan to lower costs for the American people. So it will be his opportunity to lay that all out together.
You know, I don't do cold opens very often, but that is Press Secretary Jen Psaki from yesterday. Now, the reason I'm playing this video directly from the White House is it's all about the economy. Now, she talked about Biden's economic plan that was released today. Now, I did watch it. It was a bunch of blame game BS. We're not here to talk about that because, after all, it is the economy stupid. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is this. Now, this is from Gas Buddy as of this morning. This is my hometown, Akron, Ohio. And these are the gas stations reporting. And it's pretty much up there, you know, either right around or over $4 a gallon. Now, at $4.29, you know, that marks the national average. Now, with that being said, this is a huge issue at the moment. There's a reason why I'm bringing this up. Now, for those of us who lived through the economic crisis of late 2007, 2008, 2009, and I've talked about this and talked about this and talked about this, we're going through the exact same thing again. That is a promise. And it all started when the gas prices shot up. Now, when I watched Biden's press conference today, like I said, it was nothing but the blame game. You can blame Team Red all you want. This is all you, Biden, because you started this at jump, at least as far as fuel cost. Now, I will say this, it affects everybody. Let's get real. When you see the price goes up, there's a reason why. And I'm not just saying just the pandemic. That's a lot of it, chip shortage, all of that. But when it costs more to move goods, you know, everything is going to go up eventually as in inflation. Now, during Psaki's press conference yesterday, she talked about how Tyson Foods profits went up, this and that, and that's a different story for a different day. As my screen flickers, I don't know why I'm having all these video problems right now, and I apologize, but I want to get this video out. Now, please understand this. When this goes up, like I said, everything goes up. I mean, you see it at the grocery store. They talked about shortages, home prices, which I'll get to in a moment. You know, and I'm thinking to myself, and I'm looking at this like, this is exactly 2007 all over again. Now, I've been reading articles about we're close to having the highest national gas prices of all time. I'm telling you something, wait a second. I personally remember in 2008 and 2000, actually it was early 2009, excuse me. I was still living in Phoenix at the time. I remember paying $5.25 a gallon. I specifically remember that. And thank goodness I had a vehicle that got 38 miles to gallon on the highway. Actually, it was more than that. A little bit over 40. And the same thing is happening again. People are tightening up. Not because they want to, because they have to. Because they can't afford to do anything because you close the economy down for so long. And I'm looking at, forget partisan blinders for a second. Oh, Biden, it is all you. Notice it's all you. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up because we're starting to see the exact same thing happen in 2007. I want to show you something as I go to my next screen. This is from Politico. And as you can see here, it says, I'm going to look at my monitor here. Surging mortgage rate to add to Biden's economic woes. And it says the risk of a housing slowdown heading into midterms, which is talking about the midterms here in a minute, comes as a spike in inflation already turned Americans pessimistic about the economy. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this, we're talking about this article. And it says, one of the pillars of the Biden economy is the danger of going wobbly. Mortgage rates are surging at the fastest pace in 40 years, threatening to push homeownership out of reach of many Americans and deprive consumer potentially billions of dollars in spending power as the home refinancing wave fades. Now hold it there, right there for a second. I have to look at it from the blinders of 2007 to 2008. There's two big differences, so everybody needs to understand this. Back then, it was cheap money fueling it and people using their homes as ATMs. Now it's just market. The way home prices shot up from not having building supplies, because that's been way behind because of the shortages. It has people over speculating right now on homes. And the way the economy is going, the Fed just raised rates 0.75%, but it doesn't sound like a lot on the surface. We talk about a home, it is to push people like me out in the market. Now, going back to the article, it says, while softening market may tramp down skyrocketing home prices, the rising rates mean fewer Americans be able to build wealth through home ownership. Those who do would take loans to buy a home will have less money on hand to spend elsewhere in the economy at a time when fears of potential recession is already rising, which I talked about earlier in this video. If prices fall, builders may pull back in construction, exacerbating nationwide supply crunch. Now, for President Joe Biden, the risk of a housing slowdown heading to the midterms comes as a spike of inflation already turned Americans pessimistic about the economy, even amid months of special job gains and rapid wage increases. Hold on a minute. Now, even he said himself that inflation is outpacing pay, which it is. I'll be the first person to admit it, but it's due to your economic policies going on right now. That is what's causing it. It's not anything else. It's the policies that you, Mr. Biden, has put in place so far during your presidency. Now, it's going to damage to the housing market for sure, said Mark Zand, the chief economist of Moody's Analytics, said of rising rates politically just adds to financial difficulties Americans are struggling with, will make things more difficult for incumbent Democrats. Now, going down further in the article, it's about rising home prices and rates, mortgages. Let's give it home ownership or mortgages or home buying is one of the pillars of the American economy. And right now, it is totally wrecked. And you can go back to oil prices all you want, and you can't blame the Russians on this, because you honestly and truly can't, and you know you can't. That's why I watched your press conference today, which should be a video onto itself. I'll let the big time people on YouTube and elsewhere talk about it. They talk about it a lot better than I can. Now when you go from 3% to 5%, that, like I said, it don't sound like a lot, but it is. Rental prices up. You can't even get baby formula right now. Now, granted, that's FDA. But Americans are struggling, Mr. Biden, and you have no out. And that's why I'm doing this video today, even though it just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever what you talked about. My question to you is this. Do you honestly really have a plan? It's an honest question. I don't think you do, because you can blame, because it's definitely not the Republicans doing this, and it's definitely not the Russians. My question to you is, what are you going to do about it? An all honest question. Now, you can say tax all you want. That's not the way out. And it's from those tax and spends, and it's one of those ones to where, as my thing goes out right now, and I apologize like it always does, and it makes me really, really, really annoyed that you're actually doing it this way. Now, let me know in the comments below what we should do. Now, you can say open back up Keystone or stuff in South Dakota. Honestly, when you're talking about oil, there's a lag. Always has been, always will be. You can't do anything about it. It's going to take at least 2 months for that to get going. Now, do you have any better ideas as I'm doing this video. I mean, I'm open to anything outside of starting a war, because a war economy is not going to bail us out. Now, are you stalling out to the midterms? I hope you're not, because that's not the way to do it. Now, I'm trying to think of anything else. Give me anything on what to do. Now, do I have ideas? Sure, but I'm small time. But you're looking at, with the economy going on right now, it really doesn't help that you're not really doing anything to help the American public. Now, I'm gonna get off here and stop rambling. Please, like, share, subscribe, all those good things. And keep in mind, this is Lance, mind of a black, moderate conservative.